Well, good morning, everyone. This is Keith with Positively Osceola, another one of our coffee club discussions. And as I always say, it is not a prop, folks. It's a real resource I need or choose to enjoy. So it's always special to be able to talk to folks online, but never as special, of course, as when we have the honor of speaking to Reverend Mary Lee Downey. How are you doing this morning?
Good morning. I'm doing great. I'm happy to be here. It's always special to talk to you as well.
Oh, cool. So, one of the honors is that, or the reason why we're honored is because we know you are just so busy and blessed with lots of things on the old list. Do you remember the days when we had those Franklin planners? Did you ever use one of those?
No, that probably wasn't me. Lisa Frank planner, I'm a 90s kid.
I hear you. Well, I used a Franklin planner when I first got into some ministry stuff, and it was like my thing to get through the crazy days. But that's all digital, just feels a little different. Anyway, so thank you for being here. We're gonna kind of push along. We're gonna make it official by starting off with this little coffee moment. We'll be right back. And that makes it special.
Lovely. I loved it.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm a coffee guy. So, I'll get right to it just to be respectful of your time. So, what kind of drove me to reach out to you was certainly the 23rd annual Columbia Restaurant Community Harvest. I want to get right to that if we could. So, what hits me is, on a non-COVID-19 season or a non-COVID-19 year, you would always be doing so much in the community, helping those who are in need in so many different ways, that funds are always going to be short. Always going to be, the need is going to be greater than the funds you have available. So let's go ahead and get right to talking to people about, what this is that Columbia Restaurant's doing and how they can help the Community Hope Center of Osceola County.
Sure. So every year, Columbia Restaurant in Celebration has their community harvest, which is just a time when multiple nonprofits are chosen to be supported by Columbia. You can go out to the restaurant and you can eat, and a portion of your bill will be dedicated back to your nonprofit of your choosing. And so this year, and for several years, the Community Hope Center has been one of those nonprofits. You get this nice little sheet and you can check off which one you support. And so we are looking for that support right now through their community harvest time. It happens throughout the entire month of September. And, we are in a COVID time, so eating out may feel like a little more difficult than it has in the past. But what I love about Columbia Restaurant in Celebration is they actually have outside dining. And so I've been there a couple of times already where we have been able to space out and socially distance and enjoy ourselves as well.
Yeah, and we're big fans of that restaurant anyway, so it's not too hard to wrangle us out to going that way. We're as a staff we're pretty careful for sure, because we get out into the community a bunch, and as a family we have like a little tribe with family and close friends that we're all very careful, but we get to do things still because we're being very watchful on how we interact with others. But so why don't you tell us, and we'll go back and revisit that at the end here, but why don't you go ahead and tell us, so what's kind of an update at the Community Hope Center in Osceola County? Tell us what's going on and how you're engaging with helping folks during the challenging times.
Sure. So we continue to support the people that we serve in multiple ways. We are still housing folks, still getting people from a hotel to home. We actually were able to do that with 3 more families last week. So we're always excited when that transition happens, when people can move into places that are more stable and sustainable for their families. So we're very excited when that happens. But also we continue to struggle along the lines of food insecurity in our community. And so the Hope Center has, since the beginning of the pandemic, had a weekly food distribution that happens. It's actually happening right now as I'm talking to you. Last week, we had the most people ever come through with a little over 100 or 1,100 heartbeats. And so our community continues to be hungry and it continues to seek out support. And so the Hope Center is stepping into that gap as much as we can to provide assistance in that place. We are also kind of anxiously looking at what's going to happen. We know that the eviction moratorium has been extended at this point from the CDC, which is so new to all of us. We're still kind of working through what that actually means for our community and what that means for the country. Such an unprecedented thing to have the CDC say, no, we can't evict folks. And so we are happy that that support is there, but we don't know what that actually looks like. And so we've been working through the policy, trying to put out as much information that we can so that people understand what their rights are during this time.
Sure.
But we're also kind of staring down what the future might look like for our community and the fears that come around that once that eviction moratorium is lifted.
Yeah, that certainly that's a question for many people. If you're thinking about that at all, whether it's a forgiveness scenario or, I mean, how does that all play out at the very end? You know, if people aren't paying, how does that all play out? Where does assistance come in? I've got to believe there's going to have to be some kind of assistance that's kicked in to make that not this punishing end game once that eventually doesn't continue. So how does that play out? So are you seeing an increase in those who are not finding shelter, that are in the homeless category? Are you finding an increase of that through all this? And we're a service industry based county, huge unemployment right now. I'm not a Debbie Downer. I know you're not either. But you know, how does that look right now, and how do you see that trending, if you can guess even?
We actually have seen an increase of folks who we would maybe see out on the street a bit more than we have in the past. And we're kind of researching that and looking into that, talking to those folks and kind of figuring out what their situations are. And each one of those people's situations are different. And so assessing them and doing what we can to assist them during this difficult time. We aren't seeing a whole lot of people obviously being evicted from homes or hotels because of the moratorium. And so in some ways that's helpful, especially kind of helping people become stabilized to move into housing. Mm-hmm. But also no housing units are coming available because people are not moving out of them. And so it's kind of a really weird space that we're in, kind of looking at how to serve the people in our community well. We are pretty shocked about the food insecurity, honestly. We did a survey with our clients. It's one of the things that we often do is we will survey out to everybody who's kind of in our case management roster, asking them what their needs are. And the number one need that continues to be reflected is food insecurity, above housing at this point, which is just new for our community in general. For the folks that we end up serving. Now, other folks and their mission has always been food insecurity, but even those folks, other food pantries that we partner with, St. Cloud Pantry, other folks that we've talked to, they are also Osceola Council on Aging. Everyone is seeing an increased need around food insecurity.
Of course. And so then we'll bring that COVID-19 moment back in. So how does that make it? It must have increased the challenges that you have as far as volunteership. So how do we as a community, I'll say it that way, how do we mount up to help you in what you're doing?
We actually have a pretty safe volunteer opportunity on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesdays at the Hope Center, and we're always seeking people to help us. I think people are unsure about volunteering because they are trying to stay within their pods or stay within their tribes, as you said. Sure. But we offer volunteer opportunities in a large space where people can socially distance well. Everyone has to wear masks. Our food distribution time is outdoors, and so there is very little interaction with a large group of folks in that sense, because you're all kind of outdoors, everybody's wearing a mask. And so we are doing kind of our best to hold on to that safety around what's happening with COVID-19, but also serve our community well. And so so there's opportunities to serve. Every single week we put out on our social media a sign up link for people to volunteer. And some weeks they're well attended and some weeks we struggle. And so if people are looking to expand and go out into the community, we can offer a pretty safe opportunity for that.
Awesome. Well, we will try to do a better job notifying people what you're doing. And you know, we all live such a manic life to some degree in varying levels, but and so sometimes we miss things that might be going out as far as media and releases. So we'll try to do a better job at helping you in that. So let me ask you this, and I want to respect your time. We're getting kind to an end here, but so you're also an ordained minister, which means you're probably you're going to always have that faith piece. You're always going to have that heart for others and a passion for caring. And as it says, you know, the word hope is all over what you do. So if you would, let's end with how hope matters in all that you're doing, and in that encouraging kind of way. How do you feel that you being a minister really brings a different solution to all this?
Well, I think for me, my faith and my belief that there is something greater out there than just our striving and our constant push to meet the need, that God is at work, that God continues to be at work, that God has not abandoned us during this time, that God is a God of hope and a God that wants to see God's kingdom here on earth as it is in heaven. And so that is what continues to help me move forward and do the work that I do, because I just have a unrelenting belief that God is in the mix and that God is here in the now. My favorite scripture, it's on the little passage right behind me, actually, is from Psalms 27, which talks about how God is with us no matter what, and that we will wait for the Lord in any circumstance. And it ends with my favorite line of all scripture, which is that I believe I will see God in the land of the living. And that is what I believe. I believe that in the midst of all of this hurt, this pain, this grief, this mourning that we are doing as a community, the fears and the anxiety that we have, that in the midst of all of that, God is a very still, real, and true presence for each of us.
And live in the one true living God. So we thank you for coming today. I know that we are at that point now, so I just want to respect your time. Nothing more needs to be said after what you just said, but I will remind that if you go to Columbia Restaurant, certainly the closest being Celebration, you are able to vote for Community Hope Center of Osceola County, and 5% of that tab goes to this fine organization. So we thank you very much, Reverend.
Thank you, Keith, so much.
All right. Again, this is Keith with Positively Osceola, along with Reverend Mary Lee Downey from the Community Hope Center of Osceola County. Together, we're making a positive difference in and around Osceola County. Have a great day. Thank you.